When I look at what we've been able to do as humankind in the last 40 years, the incredible increase in living standards that we've seen among all classes of society, but particularly the poorest of the poor.
Okay, and speaking of the future, I saw a comment where one guy said he has to stop watching these types of channels because it's all gloom and doom. Will things get better for us? I mean, what is your 2-year outlook, 5-year, 10-year outlook for the average Joe and then for the wealthy?
Well, tenure, hugely better. I think we have a reckoning to go through first. But when I look at what we've been able to do as humankind in the last 40 years, the incredible increase in living standards that we've seen among all classes of society, but particularly the poorest of the poor, continues. I always joke in terms of optimism that for all the United States' fault, it's still a society where 5 or 6 pimply faced kids can commandeer a garage in Sunnyvale, California, and out pops Google or Facebook, saving consumers tens of billions of dollars a year and making investors tens of billions of dollars a year. What I really like about the future, Patrick, and I'm really excited about this, is, and this is going to make me sound like some politically correct ESG warrior, but society has become so much more inclusive. 35 years ago, women weren't invited to participate. The idea that we ignored half the IQ possessed by humankind was, a real special conceit among people like you and me with outdoor plumbing. The idea that innovation was supposed to come from people who looked like me, old, fat, bald, white guys, it's a pretty dated concept given that we're less than 20% of humankind. What I'm trying to say with all of that is that garage in Sunnyvale, California, that sponsored life-changing technologies, the next garage is not unlikely to be in Lagos, in Nigeria, or in Jakarta, or in La Paz. And that's hugely good. Hugely good. The idea that we are asking all of humankind to participate in our progress is a great thing. The bad thing is that the world's becoming increasingly politicized. And rather than gathering in small groups to voluntarily affect non-coercive change, unfortunately, what we do too often is form ourselves into ethnic groups or religious groups or national groups and try and force our will on each other in coercive, aggressive terms, which is to say we go to war as opposed to go to market. I think that we need to get through a reckoning that has to do with our belief in the efficacy of the collective. It's the collective that's given us quantitative easing. It's the collective that's given us debt and deficits. It's the collective that's given us transfers. It's the collective that's given us tariffs. It's the collective that has given us hate. It's the collective that's given us war. And I think we're experiencing a gradual awakening of the fact that we need non-coercive relationships rather than, as an example, nuclear weapons or quantitative easing. I think we need to have a reckoning with regards to a collective consciousness that'll take place slowly. And unfortunately, we need to wring the excesses of our past idiocy out. We learned during the Reagan administration that you don't even need to shrink the size of government. You need to reduce its growth relative to society's ability to foster positive change. It doesn't take really very much of an increase in creativity and productivity and a decrease in government and coercion and theft to restore balance to the world. My sincere hope is that growth, continued growth in China, new growth in India, growth in Pakistan, growth in Malawi, growth in Brazil, growth in Nigeria, growth in the Philippines, allows us geriatric old people in places like Germany and the United States to finance our way out of our historic stupidity. And I'm fairly confident that that'll take place. I just think getting from here to there will be interesting.